Hello. Today we're going to be doing the Jevity fluids calculations and true urine output and the net fluid balance as well. So the scenario question is that a patient is receiving Jevity 1.5 at 90 milliliter per hour for 14 hours, and the patient drinks 500 milliliter of oral fluids. The CBI input is 4,000 milliliter, and the total urine output from the drainage bag is 6,000 milliliter. To approach these questions, there are some basic formulas that we need to know. And we need to know that the Jevity, which is the equals to rate in milliliter per hour times the hours. And this hours refers to like the time. And secondly, true urine output is equals to the total output from the drainage bag. Let's just call that total drainage bag minus the CBI input. And lastly, the net fluid balance. The net fluid balance, I usually use an acronym TITO so as to remember. TITO. And TITO is basically total intake minus total output. So those are the three basic formulas that we need. And once we know this, we can approach these questions. We can totally solve them. So the first one, for question 1, what is the total fluid input? So for Jevity, we're going to be taking 90 milliliter per hour and multiplying by 14 hours. This should give us, on the calculator, 90 times 14. That's 1,260. So that's for Jevity. So we need to understand that calculating total fluid input is not just Jevity. It's everything that is imputed into the patient, everything that the patient has taken in. So that includes the drinks, that includes other feeds, that also includes the CBI input. So now, to calculate the total fluid input, we're going to add Jevity, oral fluids, and CBI. So the oral fluid, we know that the patient drank 500 milliliter of oral fluids. So oral fluid equals 500 milliliter. And finally, we have the CBI input. CBI input is 4,000 milliliter over 24 hours. So all we have to do is just add all three to get our total fluid input. So now total fluid input is equals to 1,260 plus 500 plus 4,000. 500 plus 4,000. And we get 5,760. So that's the total fluid input. Now, secondly, we're going to do the true urine output. The true urine output. And recall that the true urine output is the total from the drainage bag minus CBI input. And here we're just trying to basically determine what is the true output of the urine. Like if the drainage bag says 6,000, but the client, the patient, actually got 4,000 milliliter. There is a discrepancy. We want to know what is the true actual urine. So that's why we have to subtract the CBI input from the total in the drainage bag. So now we proceed by saying true urine output is equals to total from drainage bag minus CBI input. And that's the total from drainage bag is 6,000. The CBI input is 4,000. So true urine output is actually 2,000. And now that's done. So we move on to calculating the net fluid balance. Now remember the formula for the net fluid balance. T-TO, total intake minus total output. The total intake, we already have it from the total fluid input that we calculated earlier. So now we just transfer that all the way here. So total intake is equals to 5760. And then we bring the total output. The total output is everything including everything in the drainage bag, pretty much. The total intake is everything in the drainage bag. We're not excluding anything. So, and everything in the drainage bag is 6,000. So this is total intake minus total output. Remember, TITO. So minus 6,000. And now we're getting 5760 minus 6,000. The answer to that is negative 240. Negative 240. So the net fluid balance is equals to negative 240. And a basic translation for this is that the patient has lost a little more fluid than they've taken in. Just a little more than they've taken in. They've lost about 240. And that'll be all. So we're going to go through this a little bit again. Just quickly, Jevity is equals to rate times hours. And the true urine output is equals to total drainage from the bag minus CBI inputs, because the CBI it's like an external input. So that's why we're subtracting it from the total drainage to get the true urine output. And finally, the net fluid balance, TITO, total intake minus total output. And we calculate the Jevity 1260 oral fluid already given 500 milliliter, the CBI input 4,000. We add everything together, we get the total fluid input. And then total urine output 6,000 minus the CBI input, we get 2,000. And finally, the net fluid balance, total intake minus total output, we get negative 240, which means the patient lost a little bit more than they've actually taken. So that'll be all for today. Thank you.